The next round of Rockford superintendent interviews is set to begin tonight. Two finalists remain. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm News 8 digital anchor Luke Laster here from the WOOD TV Live Desk. Joining me this morning, Board of Education President Nick Reichenbach. Nick, good morning.
Thanks for having me. It is a good morning.
So I want to start, I want to backtrack just a little bit and go back to those open interviews through the course of last week and then the very beginning of this week here, specifically the community feedback there. How well did that go over?
It went really well. I think one of the things that you'll find when you're doing this is that there are multiple competing audiences, and our job is to filter through all those communities, get their feedback. I think we did a good job initially, late fall, early December, and now some people have had a chance to think about it a little more, and the feedback that's come back has been more detailed, more targeted, more specific, which has only been helpful to the board.
What was something that was maybe surprising to you that you were really able to take away and implement here moving forward?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I'm surprised every day because I've never done this before. And the same is true for our board. And honestly, the same is true for probably all but maybe less than 10 people in the district that were here the last time Rockford did it. But what's been surprising is the encouragement from different people from outside and inside the district, contacts from across the state. People feel like they have something positive to say, they call and they let you know, and we share that with the board. Now is the time where, if I had my sound on the phone, you would be hearing emails and additional contact with last attempts to give feedback.
Is there anything that you took from that first round here to this next round that begins tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. So today and tomorrow, the candidates will be doing building tours and meeting with our people. And I think one of the things that's a little bit different is, in the old days, the board would get in a van or a bus and go over and visit the other district. And I think for us in these days, those are very staged. You're not necessarily going to meet anybody that, they're not going to put anybody in front of you that necessarily might not want to just say awesome, wonderful things. So the interaction with each candidate, with our students, with our faculty and our support staff, as well as the open house tonight at the high school, is to see the interaction. So we really won't be doing anything. Our board will have 3 people there today and 3 different people there tomorrow, and we'll just be watching the engagement. So I think that's more important to us at this point. You have a consultant who does all the background work and things like that. So I think it is different than what we anticipated going forward way back when they selected the consulting firm. But the feedback for doing this, I'm more interested in the eyewitness, the interaction, I think is more important to me than visiting folks who work for somebody already.
Speaking about that open house there, those specific interactions there with students, faculty, what in particular are you looking for from these candidates with those interactions?
Well, the nature of interviewing for a public position like this is you're escorted in, and as soon as you're done, you're escorted out. So there really is little time for even the board because, for Open Meetings Act reasons, it's not like the board can take the candidate to dinner or, invite them into your house and just sort of have a conversation. It's not like that. The same is true for the community and the various subgroups and people group audiences that we have. It is limited. It's just as limited for us. We have a few more opportunities to ask pointed questions, but many of the questions we'll be asking in the next 2 days were submitted and refined by the actual stakeholders who have witnessed either online or in person and have filled out some feedback forms with questions.
Now that we're down to just 2 candidates here, what set both of these candidates apart from the previous ones and even the ones before that?
Yeah, I think what's true of any candidate is you're doing a whole bunch of work looking at their CV or their resume, if you will, and you're not interviewing anybody for a position like this that doesn't have a stellar looking resume. They're going to look complete. They're going to look full. They're going to look perfect. So what the interview process has told us and tells you as you're going forward is they fill in between the lines on the resume. And there's a lot of different areas that come through. And for me, you can see the reality of the relational nature of the candidate. And again, you can put your eyewitness and your ears to work instead of your eyes, just reading words on a paper. So the strengths that come through are you're looking to target and check boxes off on the profile. Each board member has different part of the 10 profile elements or thereabouts that we're focused on. And that's what's good about having a diverse board is what is passionate areas for me might not be passionate areas for my peer and vice versa. And I think that's where we got a much better picture. So with Dr. Matthews, the relational aspect came out. With Corey, what can you say about that? I mean, it's not often you can take your future CEO for a test drive for 90 days, right? So we know a lot more about Corey in terms of her day-to-day operation, that sort of thing. And that's a distinct advantage, but it's also one of those things where you have to try and get that from Dr. Matthews. So I think we have two very strong candidates. We have two very different candidates. And I think the exciting part is about to happen.
You mentioned that if your computer was up right now, you'd be getting notifications left and right. We'd be able to hear them about questions and other things like that coming in. If you could you share, again, just how community members can participate tonight and tomorrow, and then share times as well?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, there'll be building and different staff and student subgroup tours today and tomorrow, and ending, and then there'll be a dinner. And after dinner, the candidate will have an open house at the Rockford High School. So that's a change from previous. We had a musical going on in the high school. We don't have that anymore. So tonight in the cafeteria at the high school from 5:45 to 6:30, the candidate will be in the cafeteria greeting and meeting, possibly be asked a question and give a public response and interact. Same is true tomorrow night with Corey Wilson Crawford. The same schedule will occur 5:45 to 6:30 at Rockford High School as well.
Excellent. Any other closing thoughts here as we head into tonight's interviews?
Yeah, I just say we're very excited. We're hopeful that 40 hours from now, it's a much more clear picture and we can get to the business of moving forward. It's change is hard and a lot of people are feeling it. As I mentioned before, it's exciting, it's nerve-wracking, it's a little weighing on people right now. So the board is feeling that from all directions. We're feeling the excitement from each candidate, which only emboldens us even more. So thank you for having me here today, and happy to be back later.
Absolutely. Final decision. When are you looking at having a final decision made?
Yeah, I can't speak for my peers, but the plan is Friday night after the second candidate, Corey Wilson Crawford, is interviewed, that she and Dr. Matthews will be weighed, scored by each individual board member. We'll look to move forward and select somebody Friday evening afterwards. Well, that could happen. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but that's our plan, to be completely done by spring break.
Excellent. Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you tuned in maybe halfway through the stream or just tuning in now, there's a link attached to the stream over here on Facebook. Takes you to woodtv.com where you're able to find our full conversation here. Nick, thanks again for your time. Very much appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.